Sweden's unique S-Tank is a much-anticipated new release with Nordic Forces, and soon we'll be able to get our hands on them. I thought this sneak peek would be made using a sprue shot from OnTabletop's recent video, but just yesterday I was loaned an S-Tank sprue. This involved an offer from a viewer who refused to say where they got it, and a friend willing to drive the 650-kilometre round trip to bring the sprue down for me to film. And you're the ones who get the benefit of all of this James Bond skullduggery. Stay with me for a sneak peek at the S-Tank sprue. This is what's coming. This is the TSWBX01 S-Tank platoon for Swedish forces in Team Yankee. As well as the platoon box, the S-Tank is also available for a short time in the S-Tank Company Swedish Starter Force box set. In case you missed it, the platoon box only comes with 3 vehicles. This is an unusual choice. Most platoon boxes are 4, but more usually 5 vehicles. This is usually enough to get a full platoon or troop, and sometimes even a HQ. My only guess is the S-Tank is available to a lot of forces as a support choice, which is a platoon of 3. The company box set has 8 S-Tanks, that's 2 platoons and a 2-tank HQ, along with 3 anti-tank jeeps and 2 HKP helicopters. If you want this box set, pre-order it. It's only available for a limited time. If you're not familiar with the S-Tank, it's a unique Swedish design that mounts the 105mm main gun rigidly on the chassis. Gun laying elevation is achieved by a hydropneumatic suspension. The weapon's rigid hull mounting means a conventional turret isn't required, plus the fixed gun lends itself to using an autoloader. Crew is 3 men, and includes a second rear-facing driving position. Armour is modest over the front, so hiding and shooting from cover will be required for survivability. S-Tank's turretless design assists here, giving the tank a very low silhouette, ideal for ambush and shoot-from-cover tactics. Despite what these design characteristics might suggest, S-Tank's operational role wasn't defensive. Aggressive action and counter-attack were the cornerstone of Swedish Cold War armoured force doctrine. The longer barrel of the 105mm main gun has better penetration than the standard L7 gun, giving S-Tank a chance against even quite modern opponents. Let's look at the sprue. As I said, originally this was just going to be a still from the on-tabletop video, but now we get a chance to see a real sprue for ourselves. Parts are moulded on a single sprue of grey plastic. The level of detail is fine, the sort of thing you'd expect from Battlefront plastics. Mouldings are in strong relief with crisp edges. The engineering looks fine too. There's few parts. This should be a very quick build. But it also looks like there are options here for more than one variant. The sharp and angular shape of the hull is obvious here. There's plenty of engine deck and grille detail, as well as what looks like engine access doors. The ridging on here is part of the passive armour suite, designed to break up incoming armour-piercing rounds. There's even some spare track links. You can see the hole for the separate commander's hatch, with open and closed options available. There appears to be 8 smoke discharges mounted in banks of 4 on either side of the hatch. Near the open hatch is the KSP-58 AA machine gun. The KSP-58 is the Swedish-manufactured version of the FN Mag general-purpose machine gun. Apparently, S-Tank has 2 fixed forward-firing machine guns as well. I'd not known that. This part here seems to be a dozer blade. Originally, 1 tank in each platoon was fitted with a dozer blade. By the introduction of the WWIII version, every tank had one. This gave each S-Tank the capability to do the earthworks to create its own firing positions. All versions of S-Tank use this gun, the Bofors L74 10.5cm L62 rifled gun. The gun might not look long, but it reaches right through the hull to the autoloader at the rear. That extra length imparts more velocity to the projectile, giving a flatter trajectory and more energy on impact. In Team Yankee, this 105mm gun gets better penetration than the standard L7 gun. Tracks are one-piece parts, as is usual Battlefront engineering. Tread detail looks pretty simple, but the road wheels look well detailed. The tracks and hull are keyed, so you don't put them together incorrectly. Interestingly, this sprue lets you build both the earlier WWIII or the later C version. These side skirts are for the earlier versions. They're mostly open, showing the suspension and hull side, and only 1 in 3 tanks in this variant gets dozer blades. If you want to build the WWIIIC version, you'll need to use these parts instead. These side skirts use diesel fuel as extra armour. Plastic containers covered the suspension, with them and their fuel contents acting as bazooka skirts. It seems odd to use fuel as armour, but the flashpoint of diesel is pretty high. The C version's front armour was supplemented by slat armour. This is it here. The slats were intended to prematurely detonate incoming heat rounds. Steel ribs welded on the glacis plate were intended to break up APDS penetrator rounds. Don't forget to fit the dozer blade for each tank if you're building the C variant. That's about it. It's a pretty simple kit, but with enough parts to build the 2 main variants. Quality looks good, and assembly looks like it will be pretty straightforward. As you can see here, it builds up into a nice looking kit. This is the WWIIIC with the slat armour and later side skirts. The images of the completed kit come from the On Tabletop video. I've put a link in the description below. You should go watch it. Anyway, I hope this sneak peek at the S-Tank sprue was useful. I was very lucky to get my hands on one, even if only for an hour or so. Thanks for watching. See you next time.